Jen Shah was the breakout star of Bravo's Real Housewives of Salt Lake City spinoff when it premiered in 2020. But she brought more drama than viewers expected when Homeland Security descended on a van that was taking the ladies on vacation. They were looking for Jen Shah, who had just minutes earlier left after saying her husband was in the hospital. He wasn't. The RHOSLC star was arrested later that day away from Bravo cameras. She was accused of being the mastermind behind a huge telephone scam that bilked senior citizens out of millions of dollars. After proclaiming her innocence on the show, Jen Shah took a last-minute plea deal before her trial was to start in 2022. She pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit wire fraud and was sentenced to nearly 7 years in prison. Her new prison mate is Jeffrey Epstein's alleged sex trafficking accomplice. Jen Shah in same prison as Epstein's accomplice 2 years after her conviction for sex trafficking. Ghislaine Maxwell is back in the news. A renewed interest in Jeffrey Epstein and his client list had put the spotlight back on her. The two were allegedly involved in a sex trafficking ring for decades. She was found guilty in 2022 and sentenced to 20 years in prison. Epstein was charged in 2019 but committed suicide while in jail awaiting trial. Epstein's client list allegedly includes many high-profile celebrities and politicians. The Democrats in the Senate are trying to get the list released. The Department of Justice recently interviewed Ghislaine Maxwell for more information. Maxwell was initially sent to a federal prison in Florida. But according to multiple reports, she was transferred to a minimum security prison in Texas after her meeting with the DOJ. She was transferred to the federal prison Camp Bryan in Bryan, Texas. The women-only prison camp already houses 2 high-profile inmates, RHOSLC star Jen Shah and disgraced entrepreneur Elizabeth Holmes. The reason for the transfer wasn't revealed, but it's not unusual for federal prisoners to be transferred to different facilities. RHOSLC star's release date moved up again. Jen Shah was sentenced to 6.5 years in prison, but her sentence has been reduced several times. The most recent update has her release as October 4, 2026. The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City continued after she pleaded guilty to fraud. Season 6 is currently filming and will likely air in early 2026. Could Jen Shah return to RHOSLC after she gets out of prison? Bravo hasn't commented on whether she would be welcomed back. However, Teresa Giudice returned to the Real Housewives of New Jersey after a prison stint for fraud. Her former husband, Joe Giudice, was deported after his collides with fiction. Jen Shah shares a cell with Epstein's alleged accomplice in the swirling chaos of celebrity culture. Few stories capture the imagination quite like a bizarre convergence of the infamous and the scandalous. Imagine, if you will, a world where the boundaries of reality blur, where a star from The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City finds herself sharing a prison cell with an infamous figure linked to one of the most notorious criminal cases of the century. Welcome to a story that feels ripped straight from the pages of a Hollywood script. Yet somehow, in this alternate universe, it's all too real. The unlikely encounter, it started with a rumor, a whisper on the winds of the internet, quickly gaining momentum. Jen Shah, known for her fiery personality and courtroom drama, had been transferred to a prison facility notorious for housing high-profile inmates. And in a twist of fate, she was now sharing a cell with someone whose name echoes through history, the alleged accomplice of Jeffrey Epstein. For those familiar with the scandal, Epstein's case is a dark stain on recent history, a web of abuse, secrets, and powerful figures. His alleged accomplices, shrouded in mystery and controversy, have long been the subject of speculation and conspiracy theories. Now, in this fictional scenario, 2 worlds collide: a reality TV star and a figure intertwined with one of the most infamous criminal cases of our time. The setting: a prison like no other. The prison is a stark, cold place, gray walls, echoing footsteps, and the silent weight of secrets. Jen, ever the fiery personality, is adjusting to her new environment, her sharp eyes scanning her surroundings. Despite her bravado, she feels a strange sense of curiosity. What secrets does her cellmate hold? What stories are locked behind those bars? Across the cell block, the other inmate, let's call her Victoria, sits quietly, her demeanor calm yet guarded. She's been through a lot, her past shrouded in whispers and speculation. Her connection to Epstein has made her the subject of intense media scrutiny, yet she remains silent, her eyes holding 1,000 unspoken stories. The first encounter. Clash of personalities. Their first interaction is awkward, an unspoken tension hanging in the air. Jen, never one to shy away from confrontation, breaks the silence with her signature bravado. "So you're the infamous one, huh? Heard you've got some stories to tell," Jen says, her voice cutting through the quiet. Victoria looks up, her expression unreadable. "Stories are best kept locked away," she replies softly, "especially in a place like this." Jen laughs, a loud, unrestrained sound that echoes off the concrete walls. "Well, I gotta say, life's been pretty wild for me too. From fame to federal charges, who would have thought?" Victoria's eyes narrow slightly. Fame is fleeting. Power too, but some secrets stay buried deep. In that moment, an invisible line is drawn between them. Two women from vastly different worlds, both prisoners of circumstance, yet perhaps more alike than they realize. The unspoken connection over the days, they begin to exchange stories, bits and pieces of their lives. Jen talks about her rise to reality TV fame, her legal battles, and her relentless desire to keep her head above water. She admits to feeling vulnerable, exposed, yet resilient. Victoria, in turn, reveals fragments of her past, her involvement with Epstein, her fears, her regrets, and the weight of the accusations that have haunted her. She insists she's just a fall person, a pawn in a much larger game, and amidst these exchanges, a strange bond begins to form, an understanding that both have been thrust into a nightmare beyond their control. Their conversations become a quiet rebellion against the walls that confine them. The parallel worlds, fame and infamy. This fictional scenario explores a fascinating contrast. Jen Shah, a woman who built her empire on reality TV and bold personality, now facing the stark reality of incarceration. Her journey has been filled with controversy, legal troubles, and a relentless fight to maintain her image. Meanwhile, her cellmate, Victoria, embodies a different kind of infamy. Her association with Epstein has made her a symbol of secrets kept, power abused, and the dark underbelly of elite society. Both women, in their own ways, are prisoners, one of the law, the other of her past. Yet in this shared space, they find a strange commonality, a mutual understanding of being judged, of secrets kept close to the chest, and of surviving against all odds. The public's imaginary reactions. This fictional story has ignited the imaginations of fans and critics alike. Social media is abuzz with memes, speculative theories, and imaginings of what such an encounter would look like. One viral meme depicts Jen with a prison mugshot captioned, "From Bravo to the Big House," highlighting the surreal nature of her situation. Others joke about the unlikely friendship between the two women, imagining clandestine conversations about the powerful figures they've encountered or the secrets they hold. Some commentators, tongue-in-cheek, suggest that this unlikely pairing could spark a Netflix documentary, In the Cell with the Infamous, exploring themes of fame, crime, and redemption. The deeper reflection. Prison as a mirror beyond the sensationalism. This scenario invites deeper reflection. It poses questions about justice, redemption, and the human stories behind headlines. What does it mean to be labeled, judged, and confined? Can two women from vastly different worlds find common ground in a place designed to strip away identities? Jen Shah's real-life story is still unfolding, filled with legal battles and questions about her future. Victoria's story, shrouded in mystery, reminds us of the dark corners of power and privilege. In this fictional universe, their shared confinement becomes a metaphor, a mirror reflecting society's obsession with fame, infamy, and the secrets we keep hidden. It challenges us to consider how much of anyone's story is truly known and what lies beneath the surface of public personas. The ending? An imagined resolution. As the story concludes, Jen and Victoria sit together one evening, sharing a quiet moment beneath the harsh fluorescent lights. They've spoken of their regrets, their hopes, and the lessons learned from lives lived under the spotlight and in the shadows. They realize that, despite their differences, they are both prisoners of circumstance, of choices made and secrets kept. Yet there's a glimmer of hope, a belief that even in the darkest places, understanding and humanity can prevail. When the doors finally open for their release, they part ways, each carrying the weight of their experiences, forever changed by the unlikely friendship forged behind bars. In the end, this fictional tale reminds us that stories, no matter how sensational, are complex, layered, and deeply human. Whether in the glamorous world of reality TV or the shadowy realm of power and secrecy, everyone has a story worth telling, and sometimes those stories intersect in the most unexpected ways.